online to TV. So today, digital advertising represents over 50% of ad spend in Europe. In markets like the UK, it's even over 3/4 of total ad revenues. In markets like Germany, traditional TV is still leading the way with 40%. But I think Programmatic has been the realm, the royaume of the kingdom, let's say, of digital. But we're going to talk with our two panelists today about what's happening today and how we can take this programmatic advertising onto traditional TV. So welcome with me. So Edouard, I think I'm going to butcher your name. Can I try? Edouard Kretschmer?
Pretty nice.
Pretty nice. Perfect. Thank you. Do you want to introduce yourself and then we can go to David?
Yes, thank you. So I'm kind of the strategic lead in Publicis, Czech Republic. I take care of advising clients where to put the media spending across the whole ecosystem, basically.
David, welcome. Tell us a bit more about yourself and your company.
Hello, my name is David. I'm a CTO in Impression Media, which is the biggest and oldest sales house in Czech Republic, and we are strictly oriented on online world. And our company was bought 2 months ago by Television Prima, so now I'm new in TV industry.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit more about that because I think that signals a shift from online to TV being bought by a major TV broadcaster in Czech. Guys, can you just maybe picture us very briefly the state of the online ad market? We can look at your own market, but if you have a couple of infos on the wider European market, that would be fantastic too. What are you seeing?
Okay, I try. From my stats, I have seen maybe months ago. There is 3/4 of all spends in advertising goes to online. So it's very important what's happening, and this shift was happening in last 10 years maximum. And it's not only, or it's not anymore just the internet, but online is now all devices. It's mobile, desktop, TV, radio, outdoor places. Everything could be connected to internet, and we can sell advertisement with online practices.
When we talk online advertising, are we speaking mostly display, video? What's the mix? I think you cater mostly to display with Impression Media. Can you tell us a bit more about that, and then we go to Edouard?
Yeah, as an internet company, we were focused on display advertisement. Maybe 90% of all our campaigns were display. Perhaps it will change in the future because of television and other things. But yeah, now 90% of our ads are sold by display.
Edouard, do you care to venture in?
Well, yeah, so like the online ecosystem is super wide. If you stay just within like the programmatic environment, within the mobiles, televisions, and desktops, PCs, notebooks, I think you guys mentioned it before that Google, Facebook, there is a lot of spending in there in the long tail. So obviously we are looking for clients that are spending in televisions, and then basically online is their second biggest channel, with some exceptions. But for Facebook and for Google, they have much more investment and much more money from those little tiny advertisers that are basically pushing their own business. So the spending in there is actually much higher. And looking at the portfolio, we see the biggest rise in video, obviously. So that's a discipline that's still growing. And the biggest problem with video in online is reach and quality. So right now it's been like 3 years since attention measurement started. So that's where actually television, pivot solutions, and kind of curated longer content wins in terms of the quality of the ad break. So we are always looking for solutions how to complement the clients, complement the television with the online portfolio, and it starts with kind of combining television and online video, and we see basically a lot of problems, a lot of difficulties, but still the biggest growing discipline for us is video.
And we talk a lot about inflation, the macroeconomic, the political situation, and we're seeing ad revenues from big publishers either going down or being flat. What's the trend? What are you seeing? Is it impacted, or is you still seeing your business thriving?
Well, in terms of television, it reached its peak. So the kind of fulfillment, the I don't know if it's 90% of the space is sold out basically on a regular basis, and using those 10% to fulfill that oncoming demand, and it's not getting bigger. So there we see that advertisers are kind of getting a little angry about the delivery. The more you need to deliver, the bigger problem you are facing. And especially, I think it's got something to do with the programming and with the difficulty of creating a content to kind of be culturally relevant to different audience segments. But if we are looking for people 15 to 30, that's where we see the biggest kind of problems and questions from the clients, how to tackle this audience, because we are not sufficiently reaching them in television.
Yeah, for sure. David, at Impression Media, you said that you represent 100 of publishers. Do you feel that they're still, highly invested in the space, or are they seeing, struggles to fill the inventory? What's going on?
Maybe I can mention that we can see through the years a lot of shifts. Maybe 5 years ago we were seeing a shift from desktop to mobile. It was huge, and now maybe 60 or 70% of all users' internet are mobile. What we can see now is a shift from desktop to video. People are start watching video, especially young generation, because how consume young generation internet is that they just watch video. They don't want to read. Sometimes I have feel that they can read, just they watch video. And what we can see also is a shift in advertisement. Much more spends are going to video, and not only in television but also in online video. But there is a huge differences in quality, as Eduard mentioned, because as I'm new in television, online video for me was a few months ago just video, any video if you mention. But now I can recognize that television video is in much more high quality. Television video means, for example, always with audio, always not skippable, and other things. And in online, these things doesn't work very well.
So for brands, you said it, right? It's getting harder to reach younger audience on television, and so that's why they're spending their budget on online.
It's basically both, right? Because television works great, but it works even better if it's complemented by other channels, maybe with slightly different goals. So there are a lot of things in this kind of strategy for a specific brand, for a specific client throughout the whole year. But it's definitely a problem, and you mentioned inflation, which is also a big problem, because basically you are getting still a little less every year for the same amount of money, little less reach, let's say, because that's a metric that's kind of the mantra of the television buying still.
And when it comes with working with publishers, how open are they to programmatic advertising? What's the mix between programmatic and direct ad sales? How does that work? How do you cope with that? And how do you make sure that the level of quality is there, and the relevance as well of the advertising?
Well, I believe that basically all the publishers are the biggest ones here locally are predominantly online, so they were born from online, so they adopted technologies really quickly. In 2016-17, we were actually starting to push the kind of programmatic approach to the display buying, and it came a long way. So there are a plethora of choices in terms of the platforms that you can use. Basically, any inventory is available. So it's not a lack of inventory except for video. There is not enough video, especially in the peak periods of time. So that's again something we want to buy more, and there is the publishers don't have it basically. So it comes again to that kind of how much content we need to produce, what kind of content are we producing to steal from YouTube, to steal from linear television, to steal from...
To grab your attention from other media consumption.
Yeah, basically. But overall, the kind of technical status of can you buy anything programmatically, I would say almost everything.
David, do you care to venture?
Maybe I can continue with this topic because one thing what we want to do with television is that our publisher, that means that small and medium publishers represented by my company, usually owner of the domains, will receive in a few months offer from our mother, from a TV company, that their TV content will be provided by online. So all our clients or domains could have their video and also the advertisement before the video. So this will be new for our clients, and we hope that we will do something with the lack of quality content and reach what Edward mentioned.
So I think it's interesting. We spoke to the fact that your company got purchased by TV Prima, which is a commercial broadcaster here. I think that's a great example of how the bridges are being built between the online and the TV business, and it's no longer this silo. So what you're saying is that you're going to bring those publishers onto the TV ecosystem, and the other way around. How are you going to offer, let's say, something that you'll have the ability to go to online and TV with your offering?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give you an example. For example, we have in our portfolio a few domains on automotive segment, car segment. For example, they have written reviews on new cars, and now it's what we want to do is offer this to these redactors, writers, TV reviews of these cars. So there will be short videos, maybe 5-10 minutes long, with a review of some car, and so this content could be included in the article. Everybody can read the article, see the review of the car with the video, and continue the reading. And so we now we will combine the article and the video.
Edward, how do you, as publicist, how do you approach TV and online? How do you build bridges between the two?
So I'm gonna take a solid stance. We take television as kind of the necessary evil. We take that. We definitely agree, and even we have proven by econometrics that television works great. But we believe that online has a problem with quality, but television has a problem with reach. And optimizing for that reach is incredibly difficult when you have inventory that's completely sold out. So you cannot cherry pick specific content that has high affinity towards your specific audience, because it will simply not be delivered. You can plan it, but it will not be delivered. And then you have to work with that, right? So, but you are the mediator between the client. You think of cool strategies to do, and then you are unable to deliver them. So what we are kind of doing right now is optimizing the television for that weekly spend and reach, to kind of have nicely leveled frequency across the core audience that can deliver on television. Sometimes trying to reach somebody who is called the light TV users, right? So the people, it correlates with age. So let's say 18 to 30, which spend 1 hour on linear television per day across multiple channels. So it's a nightmare basically to guarantee any kind of reach, and then add online video as the first thing to kind of level the reach and frequency across the whole demographics for the client, and then building on top of that as you go lower down the funnel. Right? So online, for example, is great for consideration. So telling a little bit more, maybe more tactical, less emotional.
Yeah, TV is creative, inspirational, etc.
But it works great for performance as well. So we have like one of the biggest clients is Notino. So I think they are definitely a key player in Europe for kind of cosmetics, perfumes, expanding rapidly. They have proven many times that one of the easiest way to enter a new country as an e-commerce is to buy television.
So you're saying the inventory is sold out, essentially. That's on linear TV only, or does that extend to the digital platforms of the broadcaster? So does that apply to catch-up and replay as well? Is everything sold out from the TV space?
Yeah, basically.
Essentially. So can we talk CPM levels? What are we talking about? How expensive is it to get in, if you're lucky enough to get in?
It is definitely, well, then you have to compare like the different steps of quality, which is a discussion that's still entering the market and still entering the minds of people. So you have difference even between platforms and the pre-roll format of video, even if it's non-skippable 15-second spot, for example, on YouTube, 15 seconds non-skippable was shown across different kind of attention data providers to show, I don't know, 4 to 5 seconds of active attention. Then you go to another platforms, it will be 2 seconds of active attention. So the whole kind of mindset of I'm having a communication, I'm having I don't know, beautiful 20-second spot for television, and I will roll it out in online inventory is very difficult. So optimizing where to put it is very difficult. So the players that provide the reach, like YouTube, don't have the necessary quality to deliver that, upper funnel, or you need to increase frequency. A lot of problems. And the television, basically, with the connected TVs, LEDs, the scale is not there. So it was Alberjan who kind of mentioned, it was the Ryan. Mr. Ryan. Yeah. Who mentioned the critical mass.
Yeah.
And it's so much hassle, and it's very expensive. So 10 times of YouTube, let's say, and it depends on what kind of deal you are able to secure, but it's very expensive. The clients are kind of resistant to start agreeing on that there is a different level of quality. So basically, we should stand on the point of that YouTube is not cheap enough. Not that these kind of pivots are expensive, because they are delivering much more for the goals that you need. That's it.
You're coming very much from a tech perspective, right? Impression Media, you have your own ad tech stack. Can you tell us a bit more about it, and how going into a company like TV Prima, so very traditional broadcaster, how's that? Maybe you don't know because it's been a month, but how that's going to work out, right? How can you really, from a technical perspective, bring the beauty of online to television? It feels like there's a wall that it's almost impossible.
Okay, television technologies are completely new for me, but I hope that in a few years it will change, because what we can see now is rise of connected TV, addressable TV, video on demand services, and all these services are connected to internet. So in the future, maybe 10 years, everything from my perspective will be sold on programmatic base, and the technology of internet and television will go together, and especially advertising technology will be completely same. And from my perspective of internet guy, it will be the internet technology who will, because it's much more adaptable, adjustable, and it brings a lot of new possibilities for clients.
And how did you go about building your own, ad tech stack? And what are the key components? Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, We prefer everything about header bidding. And in this header bidding, we based on open source Prebid, and we use a lot of SSPs which are connected there. You perhaps know companies like Magnite, Pubs, I forgot the name. Programmatic, yes, Zaxis, Adform, and others. What we decided to go, it's our own way, so we are based on open source, but the stack is developed completely by ours. And maybe 10 years ago it was outsourced by a different company, but we decided to do it ourselves because there is a lot of ways you can go to the future, and there is a lot of features you need to set up, and it's always good to have in your hand these things.
Well, how do you navigate that technical, complexity or that fragmentation, in your business? Is it easy enough to know exactly, what to do, where to go, or are you filling those technical challenges on a daily basis?
It's not easy enough. But let's say that we were in a position where we had the team to be able to kind of mediate between the client and the publishers. But it's not been that a long time ago, 2016, 2017, where basically the spending within digital was significantly lower. So it was like television, then it was radio, prints, out-of-home advertisement, then digital, right? So the priorities completely shifted once the publishers see that, okay, we have something that's valuable. So right now, what can we do for you to bring us and onboard more clients? What can we do to onboard more clients? What do they need? What do they need is an important question, because they didn't need anything specific. They didn't say, oh, I need to work with specific definition of reach, specific definition of what impression means. So we were on a local market. We were those who kind of build out that knowledge, who are talking about how to work with frequency across the portfolio, who once the kind of cookie doomsday came, are working with partners that can alleviate these pains in terms of the data and their usage. And it's been a huge problem even for platforms like Facebook, Meta themselves. Huge decline in the kind of quality of targeting, and they kind of wake up and they are coming back, strong revenue, strong results. So it's always kind of more reactive, and it's pain, but it's working.
David, you were saying that in a few years' time, the lines are going to be gone, right? It's all going to be internet-based. Today, on television, do you know how much is sold programmatically versus direct sales? Do you guys have any clue?
I don't have this data, but maybe what is important to know that in Czech Republic, what we have is mostly most users are watching television in terrestrial signal, so it's not possible to buy it online, and maybe only 20 or 30% of all households are connected to internet and could be and see television with, for example, IPTVs or through some operators, and only this 20 or 30% of all household Edward can target with his technologies, with online technologies. So it's a very huge obstacle now.
Edward, do you have a sense of the weight of both?
Yeah. So it kind of really depends, and as I said, the clients themselves, the advertisers, don't have the preferred methods, right? So they want to see their ad on, let's say, specific placement, but we are those who are saying this placement is working much better than the other one based on, again, plethora of different qualitative factors. But how do we buy that inventory? They don't care. We are kind of trying to push programmatic because of the control of the frequency, etc. So there is a lot of saving it brings effectiveness, it brings kind of sustainability. It's also about cutting down the wastage. So if you run the campaign, that's where kind of publishers have a problem to control the delivery. Right, so you will end up with really high frequency, really high amount of percentage of people where you reach them within the campaign 15 times, 16 times. So that's actually a lot of impressions that you don't want to do. And the kind of DSP partners, the data management platforms are helping in this way, organizing the reach. So that's why I think the programmatic way will prevail and will come up strong.
Is it faster? I don't know. I advertising myself, but is it? You said it's more efficient. How? Is it faster to go through programmatic?
Again, the discussion is very difficult because you can buy directly and have a reserved space that you are using through the DSP. So I think the language is really kind of in a mist.
Okay.
I think everything is bought programmatically, let's say, right? But I know what you mean in kind of the direction. We will not tell the publishers that we are buying the banner on their website versus we are, kind of need 1 million impression for this position for these 2 weeks. But you can see how kind of much more difficult it is, how the automation will be working much better across the kind of programmatic portfolio.
One example that comes to my mind, when we are talking about programmatic, it could be quite a mess. For example, you can buy a lot of videos from programmatic online, but as I mentioned in the first minutes, the quality of the video is quite different. For example, our company is quite sold out with quality pre-roll videos because everybody wants it. But we have a lot of videos which is not sold out in, for example, outstream format. 15-second video with no content related. It's just shown, played, and disappear. And so we have a lot of this type of video. And sometimes this type of video it's hidden in the whole group of programmatic videos. So sometimes if you have an agency or media buyer who don't know exactly what he's buying, he can buy his pre-roll and mid-roll and out-roll. It's something a bit messy and you will be very careful.
Last question. If you had a magic wand, let's say you're Harry Potter for a minute, what would you change, in the TV world to make them fit for the online world, or the other way around, right? What would you change to make this vision that you have for 5 to 10 years where, everything is internet and there's no distinction, right? It's this multi-screen ecosystem essentially where everything flows smoothly.
Okay. I think that the biggest obstacle in Czech Republic is terrestrial signal. It costs a lot of money to change it. And for example, UK is much ahead before us because a lot of users are not on terrestrial, but they are watching just connected TV, connected to the internet. So this is why the UK market is much ahead than Czech.
How about you, Edward? What would you change?
Change. So it's about the critical mass. Right? So it's a hassle to add another channel to your marketing mix, to the weekly campaign that you need to run, to count some probable overlaps between the reaches and to kind of evaluate everything. So if the inventory is expensive and it has kind of really low reach, then in the kind of hierarchy sense of working with the platforms that can fulfill the reach the most, the connected TV is not the first choice, right? So we need more people to be there. So the televisions need to work across, hardware problems. They also need to work with the content problems, because what we see, basically the reach on younger audiences is declining. So people who are really fluent in digital, really picking what they will watch, they have hundreds of possible places where to watch them, but let's say top 5 places where they spend the most time with video, and the televisions on a local level are unable to produce the content on a regular basis. So it's usually like one-off. Whoa, this show just worked. We actually got the younger audiences to come to our pivot solution. It increased, but then it comes back because the people were not there because of the other content. They were specifically for that content, and then it fades away. So we have problems of planning because basically, and I think that's the problem. The television should kind of embrace how to plan their content to reach, to be relevant to the younger audiences.
I think one of the mistakes is that they're trying to have those younger generation come to them when I think they should go to them, right? I think at the end of the day, the way they watch video content, the way they consume news, is not happening the same way we do it or our parents did it. It's done, right? The way Twitch is a reference, TikTok is a reference. I think to be relevant to those.
Like Disney is reference,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So you need to go where the audience is and not necessarily wait for or try to attract the audience to a very traditional way of doing things. I agree with you.
It's been proven to work, but I guess it costs a lot of money. It's a huge pay.
Yeah, and it's a transformation, right, of a business. I think TV channels should see themselves no longer as a TV channel, but as a media, as a medium, right, and go where users are. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys.